Last night, in the true spirit of Christmas, the committee of 4 men and 1 very festive dog. Actually, I've got that. You guys go on and know, it is Christmas. Here he is. Here's one of the very important committee members. Hey, Bengal. What? Yeah, good boy. Yeah. Huh? You excited for us to release the tears? Okay. So 4 men and 1 very festive dog. Look at him right here. Yeah. Gathered once again, surrounded by tinsel, leftovers, mince pies, and a suspicious amount of Arsenal optimism. While the rest of the football world check their stockings, we check the tables. And yes, Arsenal are top of the Premier League and the Champions League at Christmas. And in scraping through to the Carabao Cup semi-finals after winning on penalties against Crystal Palace, and suddenly the tree looks a lot brighter. Between Carol's celebrations and the dog trying to open up presents early, we toiled and burned the midnight oil to put together this week's list, carefully crafted, slightly biased, and very much in the festive spirit. So without further ado, Merry Christmas and welcome along to Anton's Tears. Hello everybody and welcome back to Hotsport. Well, Merry Christmas to everybody. This is my little buddy, Bengo, right? Here to co-host. Huh? Merry Christmas to you, buddy, huh? You have a good Christmas? You have a good Christmas, buddy? Okay, good boy. Go. Not playing. Huh? Oh. All right. Welcome, Merry Christmas to everybody. We actually Merry Happy Boxing Day. I know you guys in England also celebrate Boxing Day. It's actually coming to a Boxing Day because I've been spending time, with my family over the holidays, as we all should, just taking a nice little quiet break. But Premier League football is rolling around the corner, and it starts in about 8.5 hours from the time of recording. So make sure you're hitting the like button and make sure you're subscribing to Hotsport because we are back in full swing. The festive schedule is upon us. And of course, speaking of the festive schedule, Arsenal play Brighton on Saturday. So hit the QR code, ladies and gentlemen, and get yourself subbed up to Fire Them Cannons because it is back. Cal and I are back for Fire Them Cannons. Prior to the Brighton game, we've got lots to talk about. I did touch on the first in the Premier League, first in the Champions League stuff. We're gonna touch on the Everton game, on that Crystal Palace game that went 8-7 on penalty shootout. Wow. But guys, it's not what we're here for right now. It's now time for Anton's Tears. Actually, in fact, Anton's Christmas themed tears. I hope you guys didn't get spoiled by that. Anton's Christmas themed tears. I know it's coming on Boxing Day, but again, I didn't have time to do it. But this is, I wanted to get this out for you all. That way we can have these tears in play before the Premier League starts. There will be no under pressure or no upset alert this weekend, guys. It's Christmas. I just want to spend as much time as I can possible. But it was important for me to get the tears out to everybody. And let's do it. Let's start from the bottom row. Let's go. Left out in the snow. And yes, of course, Wolves, as I mentioned now, have been eliminated from the tiers. They are frozen out, would have been the name I would call them. But left out in the snow, Burnley and Nottingham Forest. Look, I think I want to start on Nottingham Forest on this one. Because after what they did the week prior to Tottenham Hotspur, to go to London, take on Fulham, and lose. They the what I gotta say, the form on Forest is just very inconsistent, and they are just barely struggling to stay above the relegation zone. They actually, at the moment, they are 5 points clear of the relegation zone. But yeah, I don't know, just something about Forest. I think it's just the overall metrics when it comes to Nottingham Forest. The fact that the schedule is ranked 17th, which means that they're going to have the 4th hardest schedule in the league. And given just the way that things have gone for them, I just fear the worst. West Ham is going to have a much easier schedule, probably the 4th easiest schedule coming up in the second half of the season. So I kind of feel like 5 points in this relegation race. I do kind of like West Ham a little bit better than Forest at this point. So I just do think that the Forest, for me, when I have it all said and done in the year, is the team that I kind of tip to be relegated at this point, just given the overall signs of the season. They've had some incredible, shocking highs, like the way they beat Tottenham and Liverpool this season, right? But things don't get easier this weekend because Man City comes to town. So let's see if Forest can do it. And Burnley, just they sit pretty comfortably, I would call uncomfortably, about 7 points behind Forest inside that relegation zone. And now that Wolves have been gone, the team that I believe is the least talented in the league sits at the bottom of the tiers. And so these two teams, I think, at the end of the season, will be left out of the snow, will be in the relegation zone. And yeah, look, for Burnley, I got to say, not a bad result, by the way. I think one thing I got to say is I got to give them credit for picking out a draw at the Vitality Stadium, to get that one very late on. But at the end of the day, though, I just don't think that they have kind of got what it takes to stay up. I just don't think they have the talent. And at the moment, they are pretty comfortably inside that relegation zone. All right, next up, lump of coal territory. And now, let's not forget about West Ham, because West Ham deserves Santa's lump of coal this Christmas. Like, for a team that talented, for a team that we thought would be somewhat well coached, I mean, they've already switched. The coach is already, manager's already gone, Potter's gone. But Nuno is a pretty good damn coach. I mean, we spent this beginning parts of the season talking about how it was a mistake for Forest to sack Nuno and what Nuno did last year with Forest. But, I mean, West Ham, for me, are not improving. I just, the way that City just absolutely spanked them last week, they seem a bit lifeless to me, the Hammers. Now, what I say is, you got the good manager. You've got, I think, decent players. Although Phil Creek looks like he's on his way to Milan. And I still think that they have got enough in them to survive. But they are on the line here. Like, West Ham could easily also go down this season. They're in the relegation zone right now. For me, it's just like, I thought they would rebound. I thought the form would get better. And it just has not. So, for me, it's just they're the... you have to put things always kind of like on a even scale. But for me, I think they have underachieved massively for me this year. Next up, Santa's starting to take notes. Now, yeah, they're still fairly low on the tiers. But, as we've been mentioning the last couple of weeks, Fulham and Leeds have been intriguing, especially Leeds. The great form continues. They absolutely spanked Palace. Palace got a penalty. That was all they had in the game. I mean, Leeds' clinical ability from set pieces must be spoken of. My favorite name in all the Premier League players, Anton, that's right, scored an unbelievable free kick in response to a very late Crystal Palace penalty. And Calvert-Lewin keeps scoring. They are just in tremendous form, especially at home. Like, The goals are raining in. It is pouring goals at the moment for Leeds. It's been incredible. Now it's going to be interesting what happens when they go to the Stadium of Light this weekend. But of course, Sunderland are missing a bunch of players at AFCON, so it'll be an interesting one. But yeah, Leeds have just been amazing. Shout out to Leeds. They have I know they're this low. It's just because overall I don't believe in the talent in terms of everybody else. But for them, what they need to be achieving this year is staying up. And I think that they're going to be doing that this year. I think they look full of life, full of energy, and full of goals, which is most important. And then Fulham, they did what they got to be doing, which is beating Nottingham Forest at home, given how things are going in the season. And again, as we mentioned in previous weeks, they played some of the big boys. They got results against some of them. Then they, kind of fell short in others, but looked amazing. They fell short in the Carabao Cup before against Newcastle, but win at home against Forest, tick. And they just keep rolling along. So Fulham, by the way, 13th in the table, 23 points after 17 games. Pretty good for Fulham. Anyway, moving on up. It's a pretty packed team we got here. Cold outside, but the lights are still on. So what I mean by this, all these teams they've got some tremendous ability. I think that they've showcased this year. That they have on their day, these are teams that you just cannot sleep on. Like, this is the Premier League. And these are kind of like, for me, the meat and potatoes, the heart and soul, when it outside of your main contenders, right? And these are the ones we go, oh, that's going to be a tough away trip to the Vitality. That'll be a tough away trip to the G-Tech. Oh, Selhurst Park, away at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, I think Goodison used to say. At St. James's Park. They can all beat you on their day. These are all teams where I see title rivals play against them, and I go, ooh, there's a chance for them to drop points today. So, but overall, it's cold outside because the overall form has been inconsistent. But that is the expectation for such clubs, with the exception for me a little bit of Newcastle, who I think have underperformed, but they're generally a second half team. So I keep sounding like a broken record, but I do see them picking it up. Look at that. The first half against Chelsea, they looked class. They ran Chelsea off the park to a quick 2-0 lead. And in the second half of the game, they let Chelsea back in and ended up drawing a game which I thought they thoroughly deserved to win. Right, a very, very good defensive game, but a stupid handball decision. And then all of a sudden, Arsenal get it. They had the penalty. They get bailed out. Crystal Palace, they know more. Absolutely look soulless and lifeless. And by the way, they've looked soulless and lifeless in the last couple of games. I think they put up a fight against City, but the 3-0 scoreline did flatter City a little bit, but still. They conceded 7 goals in 2 games in the Prem. And then, they went ahead, of course, in obvious fashion, like most of these teams do, to the Emirates and decide to actually play well defensively. But yeah, I won't hold against them. And then, Brentford, 2-0 win against the Wolves. What can we say? But then, the one that I have a problem with overall. By the way, actually, I should not overlook that Brentford actually won away from home. It is Wolves. But Bournemouth, come on, guys. I said they should be beating Burnley at home. And now they've dropped down the tiers as a result. What is this? Winless in 7? I'm losing count of the amount of games that Bournemouth have gone without a win. And it seems as if, by the way, that Semenyo is going to be going to City, according to all reports. So, again, the light is always on with these teams, right? Any of these teams on their day, you can just full of surprises. But the form overall throughout the whole season makes these teams sort of irrelevant in the big picture. Anyway, moving on up. Mid-table mistletoe. And I think it's about time of the season now where Sunderland's fixtures have evened out a little bit more. Of course, obviously, because you got 2 games left until the midway point of the season. And now, that points total translates. 27 points after 17 games. The promotion team, that's for context, Liverpool are on 29 points. Chelsea are on 29 points. So they are 2 points behind Liverpool and Chelsea. It must be respected. Again, it's starting to map itself out. Got itself a draw away at the Abex. With everybody gone, all those players gone at AFCON, they still went out and pulled out a 0-0 draw at the Amex. Picked up a point. Keep picking up points. I think that's kind of what Sunderland want to do now. Pick up points here and there because they've built themselves a very nice foundation. And yeah, I think I would call them the mid-table mistletoe because I think they've been more consistent or just as consistent as like the level below them. But the points tally is there. But they're quite not as talented as everybody else above them. But again, the points total is there, just like some of those above them. So it's a very, very interesting position. I think Sunderland should be proud of themselves of what they've done at Christmas. And hopefully they're gonna be a thorn in the side of a few of our title rivals in the second half of the season. Oh, all right. You have to go to the Stadium of Light. All right, next up. Stocking fillers. Yeah. So I could see that these teams are, filling up their stockings in different ways. For me, for Brighton, I would say it's been a usual, typical season. But I think that, it's been a career year for Danny Welbeck. Credit's where credit's due. But for me, they're just kind of making up the numbers, these teams. Like somewhere in between Sunderland and Down, they're way more talented than those teams. But the form for Tottenham specifically, Tottenham are 14th people. Do I believe in the manager? Yes, actually I do. Do I believe in the talent of the team? Yes, I do. I can't rank Spurs below those other teams. When we play ball, and we know who we're coming up now, right? I say, Tottenham is going to be, it's like a big clash for me. I know, as Arsenal, I see Tottenham as a big clash. But again, for me, they're big six. They got big six talent with bottom 6 points. And for me, they're filling up the space. There's somebody on the fixture list, but they're better than some of those other ones. And Brighton, same thing, but from a different perspective. I think they've got more of the Tottenham Hotspur point expectation. So they got the points that Tottenham would have loved to have, but without as much of the talent. But they've got, they can be really streaky and really, really tough to beat. And also got to play Brighton this weekend. So hopefully we can stuff our stockings this weekend with 3 points. All right, next up. Sleigh bells ringing. So I would say this is sort of like ringing the alarm bells or making noise in different ways. Villa have been making noise, 7 straight wins in a row. But Ring. Stamford Bridge at the weekend, followed by in the midweek, they have to go to the Emirates. It was a nice win against Man United, although I thought Man United thoroughly outplayed Villa. Villa got themselves some nice individual moments from a specific Morgan Rogers. But I just think this is a team that's not doesn't have the talent to make it all the way. I feel like we're coming here week on week on week, and they keep winning. And as you see, they've risen up the tiers now. What is this? The third tier? So they're starting to earn their stripes. If Villa go to the Bridge and they go to Emirates and they're filling their stockings with results, this is a team that's a top 2 tier team. Now it's time to show your mettle. The alarm bells for me are things have been real easy. And now you can say, look, hey, they got wins against Arsenal and City at home. But that was at home. Man United at home, right. But when they went to the last time they did lose, they went away to Anfield, and I felt like it was a reeling Liverpool. They got a comfortable win. So, like, I think there's more games like that Liverpool game for Aston Villa starting now until the rest of the season. And I want to see if they can cope with it. Because I think there's a lot of just weird glazing and trying to put them into the title conversation, which they are not. And then there's Chelsea, who, despite having the easiest schedule in the Premier League, have only amassed a total of 29 points. And for a Chelsea side who claimed to have been in the title race only about a month ago or less, the consistency is just not there. Again, I think they got themselves a nice win the weekend before, and then they go 2-0 down to St. James's Park, and they looked like they were just shoved to the side. They looked like they were so easy to break through. But then the second half happened. And they woke up. They showed their class. And for me, that game tells you the story of their season. They can look phenomenal at times and then look just so easy to run through at other times. And then they've also had, their disciplinary issues. But they're so damn talented and so young. And look, I think Chelsea, this is about where they are. And remember, they were finishing mid-table a few years ago. So I think the project is ticking along nicely. But again, for me, the alarm bells are the inconsistency. We got them next in the cup now, which should be interesting. And then there's Manchester United, who, for me, I see it in the other way around. I say people are not alert enough to Man United's talent. But here is my drawback. Bruno away at AFCON, and Bruno picking up an injury against Villa. Cunha is starting to fire. If Bruno and Mbeumo, that's a big loss. That's a massive loss. Hopefully for them that Bruno is all right. But for me, in a team that I thought was doing well, picking up some form, I think they're showing progression under Amorim overall, as much people don't agree with me. The sleigh bells are ringing, and that is in the form of Bruno Fernandes's injury, unfortunately. Next up, Santa's Little Helper. And I use this name specifically because I think what Liverpool are going to be is a bit of a Grinch for title rivals Arsenal and Man City. That Arsenal and Man City will be obviously hoping that Liverpool come to life to help beat the other. So, for instance, the second week of January, Arsenal play Liverpool at home in the Premier League. Now, while Liverpool, the moment I don't believe are in the title race at all, they sit 10 points behind the league leaders, Arsenal. That could be the game where, if City can remain consistent, they'll be hoping for, their little helper, Liverpool, to actually finally, be the team that makes Arsenal drop the necessary points for them to go top. But then, if Arsenal were to win against Liverpool, then, they will be banking on the fact that City still have to play Liverpool. And they would be hoping that Liverpool could turn City over at Anfield, which for me, I think is critical with the fact that City have to go to Anfield and they generally don't win there. So, again, I think they're super talented. Isak injury is an issue. You have Salah already at AFCON. But again, beat Spurs. Ekatike is on good form. And yeah, they're actually starting to pick up results under the radar, quietly, because, everybody's been expecting. I feel like it's because they got embarrassed so much that they got knocked out of the race. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, we Tottenham. But then finally, guys, I'm just going to try to get this show ending at the 30-minute mark. The tree toppers, Arsenal and Manchester City. Now, just to be specific, Arsenal is the team that's at the top of the tree. But this is going to be the race. We're at the holiday period. Arsenal top City by 2 points. Arsenal at the moment are clinging on for me. The performances have been nowhere near convincing enough for me, while the ones for City are, which are concerning. City look to have added Semenyo, which to me, I don't really like. That's not really the detail that kind of worries me in terms of from the perspective of Arsenal fearing City. For me, it's more Arsenal's form than ourselves. But here we go. The neck and neck, the flawlessness is required for both these teams. Whoever can stay the most consistent, whoever can keep themselves from having a bad day at the office, probably be the team that's favorites for the league or might go on to win it. I know by that logic, a lot of people favor Man City. But for me, I think what's key with Arsenal in our poor patch here is that we haven't really lost the lead in the Prem. We still hold on to it. The last 2 weeks since City pulled up to that 2-point gap after who did we draw? We lost to Villa. Right. Since then, we picked up the 3 points necessary. We got one away from home now. So, scraped through them. Haven't really scored yet from open play since Villa in the league. And City are scoring threes. But again, the form can flip just like that. But at the moment, back your horse, whoever you think. For me, it's still Arsenal. But these are two of the teams. These are the greatest teams in the land at this point in the season. And yes, I do believe, for me, still kind of believe in my Gunners. Still believe. Top at Christmas. It means a lot. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Hope you guys are having an amazing holidays. Amazing Christmas. We're going to be back to our regularly scheduled videos. As I think, New Year's is going to be interesting, man. Let's see what we do with New Year's. Keep you posted. After New Year's, 2026 is going to be a big year on this channel and on Fire Them Cannons. So can't wait for you guys to go along. Enjoy the weekend's games, the holiday fixtures, guys. Hope you guys had a great Christmas. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for all the support you give to me this year. I am nothing without you, the viewers. And I will see you guys next time. Merry Christmas, everybody. Anton out.